Hey, what's going on? So just wanted to hop on real quick and talk about the whole thing with this kid from the San Antonio Spurs, Joshua Primo. Guess he was the number 12 pick last year for the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA draft. And, you know, he was a decent player. He is a decent player. You know, his percentage isn't that great. I think he shoots like 66, 67. I'm sorry. He shoots like 36, 37%, which by any stretch is not a good shooting percentage. But, you know, obviously the kid has some kind of talent. So he was recently released. And he kind of surprised the other GMs in the NBA. You know, it came out of nowhere. So obviously everybody was wondering why this young kid was released from the Spurs. Well, evidently he exposed himself to multiple women in the organization, or multiple women in general. You know, obviously that remains to be seen, but the fact of the matter is that the allegations are that he exposed himself to quite a bit of people. And seems to me like it might end up being like a Deshaun Watson kind of thing, where you have one person who says it happened, and then after that, other people are like, hey, that happened to me too, you know? And that's exactly what happened with Deshaun Watson. And the ironic thing is that I believe a couple of accusers are hiring or have hired the same attorney that represented the young ladies with the whole Deshaun Watson situation. So it doesn't look good for this young man, you know. And we talk about discipline all the time, you know, even with Udoka, who is twice the age, even older than twice the age of this young man who did what he did. And Udoka couldn't contain himself and not fumble the bag, you know. So Udoka, obviously these are consensual things, and these are just clearly, you know, violations of the team rules, the team regulations, you know, the team expectations. So of course they can do whatever they need to do with him, and we say he fumbled the bag. With this young man, clearly it might be something worse. It might be something to where he actually needs to get help. You know, a 19-year-old kid who is in this situation, you almost want it to be a situation where when these guys are drafted, they are, you know, you lay out the law for these guys. You almost need to hold their hands. I mean, who knows how often this kind of thing happens, particularly with people that are 19 years old, you know? Does he have issues? Does he have issues that he needs to work on? You know, who knows? Maybe he does. But I wish that when these teams draft these young men, whether it's 18, 19, 20-year-olds in the NBA or whether it's 20, 21, 22-year-olds in the NFL, I know they have these rookie symposiums where they have these conversations with young men about finances and things like that, and clearly it doesn't seem to be working because so many of them end up broke, you know. I just wish that they would have more conversations and sit down and talk to them and do psychological tests and those kind of things, and let them know, like, you know, this kind of thing won't be tolerated. If you have issues, if you struggle with this kind of thing right here, dealing with, you know, sexual gratification or whatnot, you need to go to some kind of counseling or something ahead of time, because what's going to end up happening is that this is going to impact not only your financial future, not only will you fumble the bag, but there's an opportunity, there's a chance that you can ruin your life. You know, you mess up the lives of a young lady or young ladies, you fumble your bag, and it's a chance you'll go to prison or go to jail. You just never know. So if you have people who may be sexual deviants and they're drafted and you're about to hand them millions of dollars, you need to not only protect the women who are potential victims of these guys, but you also need to protect these guys from themselves. Of course, you aren't going to know when you draft somebody that they have these, deep-seated issues. But if you can mitigate things as much as possible, if you can, give psychological tests to all the kids who are drafted, all the kids you're looking at drafted, if you can preemptively provide resources that can help these guys, maybe they can potentially avoid these kind of situations, because clearly fumbling the bag is not nearly as big a deal as actually ruining your life and young ladies' lives by committing these kinds of offenses. So we're still waiting for this information to come out, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this young man and email Udoka, and just the whole notion of some men not having the discipline that they need to be able to properly navigate through lives, and not always ruining, their financial futures because they just do not have the discipline to kind of calm down, in that area. So tell me what you think. If you have not liked and subscribed to the channel or shared any content, please do so. Appreciate your support. Y'all have a good evening.